So Tyson, we got another Thursday night football showdown, and might actually be one of the last ones that we have. Two teams that we might actually want to watch play after Aaron Rodgers snapping his ankle, and then watching Giants get demolished. We've got some pretty shitty primetime games coming up, so I'm excited to at least get into Vikings Eagles.
Could be a good one. Let's get into it. What is up, guys? Welcome to the Edge DFS. My name is Tyson Smith, joined by Ellie Hernandez. Ellie, typically, this part of the show, we talk about the previous slate. We'd show the winning lineups. We talk about a little bit about what went wrong, what went right. There's no point. A 60 plus % owned dude, the quarterback of the team that we were super heavy on, got injured in the first couple plays. So let's just wash our hands of that and move the hell on to this matchup here. This is going to be an interesting one, man. Vikings and Eagles. I'm going to pull up my little freeform app here. Let's start right away here with this. So let's look at the Vegas lines here. This is a 6.5 point total. I'm sorry, a 6.5 point spread, 49 point total. Eagles are minus 290 on the money line. Now, Minnesota last week, a disappointing loss to the Buccaneers. Baker Mayfield looked like the old Baker Mayfield. He didn't have an absolutely incredible game, but he was stiff-arming dudes. He was talking shit. I love that Baker Mayfield. Vikings just came up short. Look, Cousins threw for 344 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception, but he also had 2 fumbles that he lost. Justin Jefferson, what did he have, like 5 yards in the second half or something crazy like that? He got shut down in the second half. So didn't work out too good for the Vikings. Like we said before, these close games, like they're bound to start losing some of these this year. Eagles last week, they sort of started dominating the Patriots. You see 16-0 in the first quarter there. Then the Patriots started coming back. Mac Jones threw for 316 yards, 3 touchdowns. Interesting game. You know, you got a Devontae Smith touchdown, but besides that, you got really not a lot of passing activity. A.J. Brown had 79 yards receiving and seven receptions. But Patriots actually, like we said in this first look video, the Patriots kind of got a moral victory there. I know that that's not the Patriot way, but I felt like they could have won that game, and they actually looked pretty good on offense, all things considered, against what we think is a pretty damn good Eagles defense. So thoughts on both of these teams. What are you looking out for this week? What's sort of a red flag, or what are you thinking about when it comes to both of these teams for this matchup?
Well, I mean, elephant in the room is Kirk Cousins in a primetime game. So let's just get that out of the way right now. You're going to hear about that all week from every other show that does this. So we got to get our obligatory primetime plug. Outside of that, man, like I just think the Vikings were due to regress to the mean, right? They were 11-0 and what was it, 1-score games last season. So it's really, something that you don't end up winning a lot of those games. So I think that we're going to see a little bit of this. And then Philly, I don't think we really need to overreact to what we saw out of their defense and kind of how they gave up a lot of stuff to Mac Jones and Hunter Henry. Hunter Henry looked good for best ball, right? I'm glad I got my shares. Yeah. Looks like he's going to do okay there. But look, man, I expect Philly to come out pretty much dominate. I do think that the Minnesota Vikings can put some points on the board. Their offense is obviously better than the Patriots, but Philly's going to take some time to get into rhythm. They already made it to the Super Bowl, and I think they know who they are. And it was week 1. You don't necessarily, you kind of ease things into things a little bit, I think. But we'll see. This is going to be a fun game, that's for sure.
Yeah, so we shouldn't have to deal with weather, most likely. We saw weather impact the past, Sunday night games and a little bit of the Monday night game. At least they were, hiding, what do they call it? Like shelter in place before the game. That ended up being okay. But, Wednesday, you're seeing some showers. It looks like by game time, there's like a less than a 7% chance of rain. So we should be okay with that. Let's just look at some of these props here. Let me zoom in a little bit more. So Jalen Hurts, over under for passing yards is 248.5, and Kirk Cousins is 260.5. The interesting thing here is if you look at rush yards, Jalen Hurts 45.5 and Alexander Madison 51.5. And then you look at the receiving yards here. Zoom way in. AJ Brown 72.5. You got Dallas Goedert 42, which Dallas Goedert, he didn't even get a catch last week, I believe. I think he only had one target. But he was on the field quite a bit, but he just didn't get targeted. Devontae Smith 63.5. You got Justin Jefferson with 92, and TJ Hawkinson 47. You sent me a couple. It looks like you got a Kirk Cousins under 1.5 touchdown passes as some of your favorites, and then Alexander Madison under. You got the old man under going on here. Thoughts on that?
Yeah, man. I just don't know if Kirk Cousins can get more than 2 touchdowns or get 2 touchdowns at all in this game. The Eagles defense is really good. Their defensive line is good. I think that really the only question mark we have, is James Bradbury. He's going to be ready. But even then, I still think their secondary is fine. Maybe they get exploited a little bit on a short week, but minus 110, I don't mind putting a few dollars on that. And must have missed that Justin Jefferson one, though. What was that, minus 115 for 87.5? I don't
92.5.
Or 92.5. Yeah, I don't mind. That should probably be a first half line. Like I think people forget about Justin Jefferson. Like you want to talk about his matchup, but it's like he's impossible to cover like that because he's such a clean route runner. So it's just it's difficult. And then TJ Hawkinson, he was another guy. I don't think he had any catches, anything on Sunday either. So weird output from the tight end group there.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's talk about injuries. I have this Rashad Penny anytime touchdown prop up for a reason. I'm not crazy, I promise.
Yeah, just pain. It was pain everywhere.
So let's look at our injuries here. Let me zoom out a little bit. So Kenneth Gainwell listed as DNP in practice with a rib injury on Tuesday. Kenneth Gainwell is the guy, apparently. At least right now he is. Like I said in that first look show, they told us that, they said, hey, everyone was saying Kenneth Gainwell's getting all the snaps and, he's the number one guy. I didn't believe that shit. I really didn't. And then we saw Rashad Penny be a healthy scratch on Sunday. And I'm like kind of freaking out because, first of all, I got a ton of Rashad Penny in best ball and DeAndre Swift. Probably stupid move of me. But with Kenneth Gainwell out, if he's out, how do we handle this? And look, even if he is active, do you think they kind of give him a break considering they got so many damn running backs on this team? What do we do with Kenneth Gainwell? And if he's in, are you interested in playing him?
Yeah, I'm interested in playing with him. He is, or playing him, not playing with him. What the fuck? He's a little bit expensive, but he is the guy. It does look like. If he's out, obviously, Swift is probably the direct beneficiary, and then I could see Rashad Penny being active. Boston Scott's always going to be interesting at 2,200 or whatever he is, but I don't know, man. Like it's just a tough position for the Eagles. Like what did DeAndre Swift do? Like I don't understand. He must be like the worst person off of a football field. Like does he just go around cussing out people like at the stadium? Because I don't understand why he just can't get any run. Yeah.
It must
I
be.
don't know, man.
Yeah, he's got secrets. I don't know what it is. He's a womanizer to coach his wives. I don't get it. They traded for him. I know he's pretty cheap. But why not use him? Look, whoever we think is the least likely to break out in this game, play a shitload of him. That's just all I got to say about that. Blankenship, safety, DMP. We got James Bradbury with a concussion, DMP. You see the Gainwell. You see Fletcher Cox on the other side. Not a whole lot to talk about. Garrett Bradbury, Darisaw, Marcus Davenport. Those guys are on the injury report. Thoughts on if James Bradbury is out, man? That's kind of interesting.
I mean, that's kind of an interesting group in general. Reed Blankenship as well, Fletcher Cox. I'm sure Fletcher plays. James Bradbury, yeah, he matters, and if he does have a concussion, I don't know if he can pass protocol by Thursday. again, I don't think that it really boosts Justin Jefferson that much anyways. It's like, how much better can you be than the best in the
Yeah,
world?
yeah.
So, but like Jordan Addison, that opens up a decent matchup for him. KJ Osborne, I don't know. Like, but the thing is I still think Minnesota's going to throw for 275 plus. I just don't know that they're going to punch it in the end zone all that frequently.
All right, so let's get into this breakdown. We're going to go position by position here, look at all the salaries. Then we will, build some lineups and mess around with captains and fades. Let's do this. Break it down. All right, so let me switch over here. All right, so Jalen Hurts is 11.4K and Kirk Cousins 9,200. 9,200, we keep seeing quarterbacks around this 9,400, 9,800 range. Once you start to dip below the 8K or the 9K range, that's kind of in the Ben DiNucci territory. Look, Kirk Cousins at 9,200. He is popping in the Sims because he's $9,200. He's gonna throw the ball. Let's see what they have him projected for attempts. Pass attempts 35. He's gonna throw the ball a ton. So thoughts on Kirk Cousins? I know you're taking the under on him for passing touchdowns. But $9,200, dude. I mean, if he gets one touchdown and 300 yards passing, I don't know, man. That seems like probably a pretty damn good game from the guy.
Yeah, man. Okay, so let me clarify a little bit. I like that under because it's easier to hedge sometimes on sports books than it is just hedging with a DFS lineup, right? So if we're gonna build lineups for a 49-point total, going and put $10 on that under could cover a decent amount of entry fees if Kirk Cousins doesn't hit 2 touchdowns. But like I do think that he's fine at 9,200, and even if he has 300 yards, 1 touchdown, and 1 interception. Like he's still going to be a pretty solid flex play. Now, the difference with him and like some of these other quarterbacks we've been playing is I really don't think he has the rushing upside. Now, of course, this means he's going to get a goal line quarterback sneak for a 1 yard touchdown. But if you think that that's possible, then absolutely throw him in at the captain spot. But I just don't know I'll have any captain out of him. And then just one more piece on his price. Like I think he's kind of the logical guy to maybe soften the price in a little bit, right? Jalen Hurts can get 2 rushing touchdowns. AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, they're going to be around that 9K range, and Justin Jefferson can't be any lower than 11K. So
yeah,
I get it. It is kind of a low price, but at the same time, you're still in the same boat. You're going to have to decide whether or not you're fading. If you're playing both quarterbacks, or you're going to end up fading multiple receivers.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to have to make a really tough decisions on this slate because Justin Jefferson is the most expensive on the slate. You get Jalen Hurts at 11.4K. You got Devontae Smith, AJ Brown. I mean, dude, you got so many dudes. And obviously, you have a lot of mid-range dudes or higher 8K, 9K type guys. We're going to have to make a lot of decisions. We're not going to be able to get all the studs that we want. This isn't a Deontay Hardy situation where there's a $200 wide receiver that's starting that we could just jam at the captain spot and say, F it. We're going to have to get real creative. My suggestion always is just play as many lineups as you possibly can in these showdown slates. Spread yourself out enough. Don't go too crazy. Obviously we learned that with Aaron Rodgers. But look, I mean, I had 74% Aaron Rodgers. I was a little bit above the field. He's 61% owned or whatever. So, yeah, I mean, that shit's going to happen. Like, every time, like, we've done so many of these shows, and every time I feel confident about my lineups, some crazy shit happens at the beginning of the game. A 75% owned wide receiver, like a Justin Jefferson, gets a concussion in the first quarter and just fucks everything up. So, I do actually enjoy... Well, I wouldn't say enjoy, but I make it a point to make stands on Showdown to go, I'm going to go all in on this guy or I'm going to fade him. Not with everybody, but with certain guys. And that's just a huge risk either way. But if you get lucky on the other side of things where a guy that you faded gets injured, well, you're going to be making a lot of money. All right, let's move over to running backs. Let's start with the shit show here that is Philadelphia. So Kenneth Gainwell, questionable. It's a short week, dude. That was a tough game. It's a short week. He's supposedly the lead back, but they got a lot of backs on this team, and they have a lot of similar type backs. DeAndre Swift could probably fill in for Kenneth Gainwell for a game. If they really do believe that Kenneth Gainwell is their guy, And he is actually questionable on a short week. They probably should just make him inactive. But hey, that's just what I want to happen, because if he's active, it's going to make things a lot more gross when we're building, because I'm going to have to get some shares of him. DeAndre Swift is 4K. So if Kenneth Gainwell is out, DeAndre Swift is probably the guy that's going to get a ton of ownership, and I'm definitely going to be interested in. We're building on DraftKings. It's a PPR site. He's going to get involved in the pass game. But Rashad Penny at 1,600 could be active. So what, I know we talked about it in the injury area, but like, what is your strategy here? If Kenneth Gainwell's in, if Kenneth Gainwell's out, what are you thinking? Who's kind of the guy? I think Boston Scott's kind of the guy that I'm probably not going to touch much of, even if Gainwell's out. I don't know. What do you think?
Call me a conspiracy theorist, but I think what we might be having, or might be watching unfold before our eyes this season, is they might actually have a 4-back rotation here, and they inactivate one of these guys every week, right? And they just rotate Kenny, DeAndre, Rashad, right? So all 3 of these guys have had injuries in their career. So why not do something like that? Give everybody an extra week to rest, and then they can get 70-80% their primary week. Just rotate starters. Maybe that's what they meant on their depth chart, right? Yeah. When they released it, everybody as RB1. Yeah. So like Nick Sirianni, this guy's a psychopath. Like I don't think that. I mean, you have to be to kind of do what he's doing with that offense, man. So I wouldn't be surprised something like that's going on. But no, to answer your question, I like Kenny Gainwell at 7K. He's fine. Minnesota's defense, like I'm not there. If you can, I mean, you're getting sunned, or you're getting sunned by Baker Mayfield, right? Like, I don't know.
Yeah,
that was pretty funny, dude. The stiff arm on Byron Murphy.
Yes, exactly.
Right? Get your weight up.
Get your weight up, bro.
That's something, right? So I definitely think Minnesota's got some struggles they need to work through, and Philly's really not a team that you want to deal with that against. But look, man, I like getting some exposure to DeAndre Swift at 4K. If Rashad Penny is active, I think that he's fine at 1,600. Really, only if Kenny is inactive. If all 4 guys are active, I'm probably not touching any of them.
Yeah, I mean, look, let's talk about this for a second. If Kenneth Gainwell is actually injured, and maybe he's 80% or even 70% for this game, they would probably make Boston Scott inactive and bring up Rashad Penny. Wouldn't you think? They got 3 of the same archetype type dudes and no goal line guy. Rashad Penny is that guy. So if Kenneth Gainwell is actually hurt and he's active, you'd think that Boston Scott would be inactive and Rashad Penny would be active, but who fucking knows, man? Let's go to the other side here. This isn't pretty either, but at least we know what to expect here. With Madison's going to get the bulk of the carries. Let me actually, I do want to pull up something here. Give me 1 second. I got some stuff to show here. Let's look at this real quick. So Dave Lawford from Stochastic. So you see, let's look at this side here. So Alexander Madison, 73% of the snaps, 11 rush attempts, 4 targets. He had 1 goal line attempt. The next best guy is CJ Ham, who's a fullback. You got Ty Chandler, who we thought was, going to get like, maybe 20 or maybe 30% of the snaps. I got 17%. So it's a one-man backfield, as it seems. And, Alexander Madison did get a receiving touchdown in that game. And then I know we moved on here, but Kenneth Gainwell, 62% of the snaps. DeAndre Swift, 29, and then Boston Scott, 12. So just seeing that, it kind of, I don't know, dude. I don't know what to think about Alexander Madison. I didn't really like him that much in best ball, but he's the only back, dude. He's 7,600. And he can get receptions out of the backfield. I just worry that this team is going to be losing by so much that he's just going to be out of the game just because of the game plan.
I like Alexander Madison at captain, and then probably just a full fade beyond that. That way I got a little bit of exposure to him. If he goes off, he goes off. And he's probably going to be fairly decently low owned, right? There's too many guys to pay up for. And you're probably going to have most people either punting or getting into that kicker range rather than playing several guys at 7,600. The other side of that is I mean, how much more time can we spend about this defensive line? They added pretty solid linebacker in the offseason, right? The Eagles are going to beat the shit out of the Vikings offensive line.
Yeah.
It's not going to be a very fun environment for Madison to run. So
No.
I think I'm fading this. Really, I'm going to be prioritizing ways to get to the wide receivers of Minnesota more than anything else.
All right, well, let's talk about the wide receivers of Minnesota. Justin Jefferson, 12.4K. Well deserved. There's no, typically when we're on these showdown slates and Jalen Hurts is involved, he's the highest price guy. Not when Justin Jefferson's around. He's 12.4K. Jordan Addison had a pretty damn good game, 6,400, and KJ Osborne at 5K. So, dude, there's no way in hell you're going to ever fade Justin Jefferson. This is the kind of guy that you just, in my opinion, you just lock into 100% of your lineups. He's like one of these guys that you just lock in. The question is, do I play him at captain? Can I afford to play him at captain? Is there enough value to not have to completely punt in two different spots? That's the biggest question. So what are your thoughts here? And I know you love Jordan Addison, right? Like, so I know you're going to be playing him and probably some at captain, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I like that he does give me a little bit of comfort to quietly and unconfidently fade Justin Jefferson in a couple lineups. At 12-4, like he needs his Sunday output plus a touchdown. Just to be completely honest with you, man, he's got to get there a little bit more, especially if you have him at the captain spot. And we can look at Justin Jefferson's stats all we want, man. That dude is amazing.
Yeah,
he's fun to watch, and his matchup's gonna like. Here's the thing: is I do think there is a world where the Eagles decide to sell out on just stopping Justin Jefferson. Now that is going to open up stuff for Jordan Addison, T.J. Hawkinson up the field, but I think what we learned last year is that a lot of what the Vikings offense is running is to get Justin Jefferson open, is to get him cleaner looks. Man, it's hard. Play him if you can. If you really can't afford him, then make sure that your lineup is it makes sense, right? Don't just take him out and jam in all the top dudes. Like, I know you're going to need to pay up and fill out that salary, but make sure your lineup makes sense if you're fading Justin Jefferson.
Yeah.
And then look, Jordan Addison, man. So I say use a little bit of caution when dealing with rookies early in the season, especially a guy like this who is kind of is the number 2 wide receiver, but could easily split time with KJ Osborne, right? Like, and if you don't take away Jordan Addison's touchdown, right? What was it? Damn near 40-yard touchdown. It is a little bit different output.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
like, don't be oversold on him just because he had that one flashy play. So that is one thing I do want to keep in mind. I think there is some utility going to KJ Osborne just as a pivot off of Addison, save a little bit of money. And I do think Addison's going to be a little bit popular just because of what happened on Sunday.
He is on the field quite a bit, but he's playing when there's 3 wide receiver sets. So if this team is not coming out in 3 wide receivers, he's probably not going to see the field. But look, you got Darius Slay, you got James Bradbury, you got Avonte Maddox, who's going to go up against a slot guy. It seems like you could see Osborne and Addison. Addison had 11 snaps in the slot last week. And KJ Osborne had 25. So it seems like KJ Osborne's that slot guy. So this is a tough matchup though. With Darius Slay, Bradbury, Avonte Maddox, it is definitely a tough matchup. Let's go to the other side of the ball here. So AJ Brown's 10.6K, Devontae Smith 9K, Quez Watkins 3K. I mean, who cares? Like, this is a 2-man room, kind of like Miami. We don't even. Who is the number 3 wide receiver in Miami? It's kind of the same situation here. Quez Watkins does have some upside, so I will play him a little bit, especially because I'm probably going to be doing 200 plus lineups. So he'll definitely make my lineups. But when it comes to volume, you're looking at AJ Brown and Devontae Smith. Devontae Smith scored a touchdown. AJ Brown had more yards. These are both guys, getting both of these guys in a lineup with Jalen Hurts is going to be damn near impossible unless you just do like a 5-1 onslaught and get some random dude from the other team. You're going to have to make a tough decision. Who do you prefer? AJ Brown, grown-ass man, or Devontae Smith, one of the fastest dudes on the planet?
I kind of prefer AJ Brown. I'm just it's more of a feeling than anything else. I like AJ Brown this week. He's just I look. So the Vikings. I mean, Byron Murphy Jr. He's probably their best corner. And he's a finesse guy, right? Like I think one of the things that you run into is just some of these corners are so small in comparison to the wide receivers. Like Caleb Evans, he's big, 6'2", 198. He's bigger, should I say? But like, it's really hard to cover guys like AJ Brown, man. Like it just really is. And you're gonna have to deal with Devontae Smith. So I like AJ Brown this week. I think it's a better matchup for him against these corners. And Devontae Smith, obviously, he's fine. I think I like him a little bit more at maybe just captain just because of the flexibility. I don't know how much I'm gonna have in my flex as of right now. I'm gonna have to kind of just build and see where I end up. But
Yeah.
I like AJ Brown, man. And he's probably one of my favorite captain plays too.
I feel like AJ Brown, because of his price, he might kind of be lower owned than he should be. You know what I mean? Like, I think he's coming. It looks like right now Devontae Smith early projections is slightly higher owned, and that's because of a 1,600 point price difference. That's a big deal. If we're going to build here in a little bit, we're going to see like, holy shit, like let's get Devontae. Like we're going to switch off of AJ Brown and we're going to go down to Devontae in order to get that last guy. Most likely, it's probably what's going to happen. Let's go to tight end here. So Dallas Goedert did not have a good game. He's 5,800. He's in this range where you're probably going to want to punt. I'd rather punt almost than play Dallas Goedert. He's just not seeming to get any volume in game one. We can't overreact. We know what his output has been in the past. And the first opportunity that we say, screw this guy, I'm fading him, he could come out and have a touchdown. But at 5,800 on a slate like this with all these expensive guys, don't you need more than a touchdown out of him? His median projection's at 11. And if his median projection's at 11, you're going to need probably 20 out of him to be in the optimal, right? So thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, my thoughts are is you play literally any of the top four guys at captain, and then you get two quarterbacks and or one quarterback and another wide receiver. Just with those three players, you probably can't afford to pay up for a guy like this, especially at an 11 projection. He's going to need 15 plus to get you where you need. So I think you just have to come down just based on his price, depending on who you're going to play, right? So like if you want to get some exposure to Dallas Goedert, just as you know, a little bit of a pivot, I guess, maybe to save some money and come off of some of the chalky studs, that's fine. But you're going to have a bunch of like kind of mid-price dudes that you're building your lineup with, and I'm just not sure it's going to be comfortable playing like Jake Elliott, Dallas Goedert, and DeAndre Swift all in the same lineup. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
So, look, I think like I would honestly rather probably play Jack Stoll, just punt completely at $200, and then be able to use 5,600 somewhere else. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think so, dude. I think Dallas Goedert, to me, I'm not trying to be too reactive to week one, but we're gonna have to make tough decisions, and he might be one of these guys that I get, I don't know, 10% of, and maybe I put like 4% in the captain. He's coming in. I mean, they have him projected around 25% ownership, which I don't see happening. I think that's gonna crater as we get closer. Let's look at the other side here. So TJ Hawkinson, 6,800. He's in another weird spot. I do like him a little bit more than Goddard. Sorry, I just had a brain fart. I do like TJ Hawkinson more than Goddard, even though he's more expensive. I think he can get more involved with the offense. Besides that, I'm not touching any of these other backups, but Hawkinson has a huge upside. I think he's a good captain option, to be honest. And getting him in the flex a little bit more, he's probably going to be, let's see, they have him around 40% owned. So I think you should be at that, if not above that, and probably a little bit higher in the captain spot. Where are you at with Hawkinson?
I think he's fine for a captain play. I just, again, like I think this price range is just a little awkward to fall into. It means you're probably fading another wide receiver or a stud, and I just don't know that I'm comfortable with something like that. But this is absolutely a game script that could play out in his favor, right? If the Eagles do overcommit to Justin Jefferson, somebody's going to be the beneficiary of that. I don't think it's going to be Alex Madison, just because that defensive front is so powerful. TJ Hawkinson, slipping off a chip block and just coming over the middle, it really feels like an easy spot for him. So I do like him in captain. I think I agree with you there, but I don't know if I'm going to get to him in flex.
Yeah, I mean, the only reason we'd be able to get to some of these guys is if Gainwell's out. And that's going to open up a little bit more options for us. We can go with the Boston Scott. We can go with the Penny. You can get some clear value, at least on paper, clear value. And that'll allow you to grab one of these dudes in the 6K range, probably. We'll see when we build lineups here. All right, so my favorite thing to talk about, defenses and kickers. Eagles 4,400. That's an interesting price for them at $4,400, dude. I know that Minnesota can come out and absolutely sling the ball around, and they can score points, but they're going to turn the ball over. Like you said, primetime Kirk.
You like that? You like that?
Look, I like Kirk Cousins, but he's going to turn the ball over most likely. So 4,400 for Eagles defense, 3,200 for Vikings defense. We can't count these defenses out based on what we've seen so far this year with showdown slates. Where are you going with these defenses? And then Jake Elliott 4,200 and Greg Joseph 3,800. Is this a kicker situation too?
Yeah, man. I think all these guys are in play. Minus the Vikings defense. Sure. If you think they can get competitive. I think Eagles defense being priced like this is just an overreaction to Sunday, to be honest with you. People still like to discredit Bill Belichick. He's one of the greatest coaches of all time. Like at certain points, like he's going to regress to his mean of shocking against really good teams. You know what I mean? So I still think Eagles probably have one of the better defenses, if not they have one of the top defenses in the league. Their defensive line is going to get sacks. It is going to cause problems, and there are going to be turnovers, man. So I don't mind them at 4,400. I like them better than Dallas Goedert. It's easy.
Yeah,
and then
it's true.
Jake Elliott, he's fine. Greg Joseph, I don't think we've seen a kicker at 3,800 in a long time. So maybe he's blessed with the Minnesota curse, where they just miss field goals out of nowhere. So that's why he's priced down. But I mean, again, Eagles defense, I think Greg Joseph is a good stack. Maybe if you want to get crazy and just do a 5-1, 5 Eagles with Greg Joseph. I think that's the kind of script that'll work. Right at a 49 total, I think a lot of people are going to be building for competitive games. They're going to have 3-3, so maybe go onslaught and we'll talk about that when we build. But I think that's a good way to go.
All right, let's get to our captain option, our favorite captain option for tournaments, our crown their ass segment.
Now, if you want to crown them, then crown their ass.
Ellie, you're going to AJ Brown. I'm going Swift. More so, obviously, if Gainwell's out, because he's 3K. That's a pretty damn good price for him. Talk to me about AJ Brown here. The interesting thing with him is I feel like he's going to get the volume as far as targets, and he's one of these guys that also can get the touchdowns. But at captain, you're getting all those points. Like in my head, I feel like I'd want to play more Devontae Smith at captain because he's kind of more boom or bust. He relies on some of these more bigger plays while AJ Brown can do both, right?
Yeah, man. Look, I just have a feeling about AJ Brown. I like him this week. It's going to be tough building pretty much with any one of these studs. Justin Jefferson's just a little bit too high. Devontae Smith, he's fine at 9K, but I do think that his price is just going to make him a little bit chalkier. So AJ Brown's my guy, and I'm going to ride him hard.
Swift, like I said, look, I mean, it's obvious if Gainwell's out, but look, if Gainwell's in, I actually like Swift at captain as well, because we just don't know exactly what kind of run Gainwell's going to get. Maybe he's a decoy, maybe, who knows? Like I said, who's the least likely guy that you think is going to get the snaps? Play that guy. All right, let's get to our fade option here.
We couldn't do diddly poo.
So Ellie, you're fading Goddard. I'm fading kickers. I just hate kickers. I don't know how to treat it. I'll probably be like 5% each at kickers and call it a day. This is probably the day where they each get 15 points, but who knows? I mean, we saw last slate there was a double kicker in the optimal. Talk to me about your Goddard selection here. People are just kind of skipping around and they didn't hear your disdain for him earlier.
Yeah, man. He's going to be one of my favorite captains on one of these slates moving forward. But right now, I don't think he's the guy. His price is just too awkward for me. And honestly, I don't see any reason why they should be throwing the ball to anyone other than AJ Brown or Devontae Smith. They're just so much better than almost literally anybody on the field. That being said, I just don't think Goddard's the guy that gets there. It's too hard to build with his price.
All right, let's build some lineups, dude. Let's go ahead and try this out. Throw us a like, guys. We appreciate you. Get us to 50 likes on this video. That'll help us out a lot. Our Monday night shows this year are going to be for members only. So click that join button down below if you guys want to see that. And that's only $3.99 a month. I think, Ellie, we're gonna try to do 2 of those shows for the members this week. We're gonna try. We gotta figure that out. Hit us up in the Discord. We'll be posting about that. That Discord is free, by the way, as well. And then maybe, Ellie, I know we're putting a lot on our plate here, but we should probably do a 2-gamer video too, right? A 2-game slate for Monday. I don't know. We'll figure that out.
Let's see.
Let's see how our schedules are. All right, so let's build a cashy type build. You got to put Hurts at captain for a cashy build, right?
Yeah.
All right, let's do that. Let's see how screwed we are. So look, we got to put Justin Jefferson in here, like 100%. And this is where it gets murky. I think AJ Brown is the better cash option, most likely. But where do we go? I mean, do we get kickers in the cash? Like, I might be willing to do that for this type of build, and then fade them in my tournament builds. Where do we go here? Because we got about 5,000 a pop. Is there any value we want to throw in now? Should we put in Swift?
I'm fine with Greg Joseph. If you want to start with him as value, I guess.
All right, let's do that. Greg Joseph. Who else? Probably another couple Philly guys, right? I mean, we think that this is probably going to be a Philly win, and I think this is probably a Philly blowout potentially. So if we're thinking that game script, let's go that route. Let's get the 3 Phillies, right?
Yeah, I mean, look. So this might be crazy, but I throw in the Philly defense.
Yeah, I like it. I like it, dude. I like it a lot. All right.
What happens if we're not going to be able to get to just throw in AJ Brown? And what does that give us?
1,700.
No, not even Boston Scott.
Rashad Penny, if he's there, dude. If Gainwell's out, this is a sick lineup. This fits the game script. Absolutely. If he's out. Now, if he's in, I don't know if Penny will even be active. Who knows? But that's an interesting build. Now, this is exactly what I talked about earlier in the wide receiver spot. We're going to say, shit, we don't have enough money. Let's go from A.J. Brown down to Devontae Smith. Let's try that. 3,300. I don't think that does a whole lot for us. No, we can't quite get Swift. Actually, Swift is 4K. I think he said he's 3K earlier.
So, throw in Boston Scott real quick. And then what can we come up off of Greg Joseph? Does that give us anything worth? 4,900? I don't think so.
Jake Elliott. 5-1.
I mean, sure. I guess I don't hate that. Boston Scott still scares me, but he's also a guy that can get 2 touchdowns on a fucking island game.
Yeah, this is a tough one. We got to wait for the injury news. We got to see who's inactive because I think that really changes everything here. Let's go to a tournament lineup. Let's do one with Hurts, actually. Let's do one with Hurts at captain because, I mean, look, we've all seen these slates with these type of guys. You got the Lamar Jackson types. You got Josh Allen, even though it wasn't a very good game for him last night. You probably want to get these guys a captain and just try to get different in the flex because if we're doing 170 or 196,000 entries into this Millie Maker for Thursday night, there's no way in hell we're going to be able to build with a dude, with all 20% on dudes. We're going to have to get weird. So let's build for that. Let's build a Millie Maker lineup with Jalen Hurts. It's going to get weird. Where do we go? Do you want to? I mean, look, honestly, fading Justin Jefferson if you have a couple bullets in the Millie Maker, that's probably the way to go, in my opinion. Even though it's scary. Am I crazy?
Yeah. No, do it. So let's go Jalen Hurts and Jordan Addison.
All right, I like it.
And then AJ Brown.
AJ Brown. Do we want to go Kirk Cousins at 9,200 here?
Let's try it.
Let's try it. So 5,500, 2,700 a pop. Do you want to get like a Eagles defense? Do you want to get a kicker and see where we're at? We're gonna have to grab one of these dirt cheap guys who's gonna be like 5% owned in this last spot, most likely. So let's set ourselves up for that. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm down.
Eagles defense?
Yeah, throwing. Yeah.
Or who are you gonna say?
Well, no, I was just gonna say Greg Joseph. Let's see where he's at, but I don't know if I really like that.
Yeah, that's a little too interesting. Let's just put the Vikings, or I'm sorry, not Vikings defense. We don't want to do that. Let's put Eagles defense in 1,100. So this is what I'm saying, dude. This is some weird shit. Myles Gaskin, who could be active. There's just Grant Calculator, Jack Stoll, Jalen Naylor. We didn't really mention him. He at the end of camp was kind of trending up, like maybe he could be the third wide receiver, but I don't know that he's going to get on the field much. This is messed up, dude. Let's take Cousins out. Let's get mid range. We got Hurts. Wait. Why do I have Madison in?
I don't know. I just noticed that too. But yeah, let's that A Addison I think threw us off. Yeah.
Son of a bitch. All right. Well, hey, we get 1,200 extra bucks here. I'm sorry about that, guys. Let's put Kirk Cousins in. Everybody that's watching this is like, this guy's a fucking idiot. All right. So we got 3,300 a pop. Where are we going?
Okay. I mean, well, let's go back to the Eagles defense.
All right, let's try that now. Let's see if we can do anything different. 2,300. Boston Scott, Rashad Penny. I think there's a theme here, especially with this Eagles defense. If we were playing that, I mean, I like the Rashad Penny game script. If he's active and if Gainwell's out, Eagles defense, Rashad Penny against a quarterback in the flex and against a wide receiver. I think this is pretty cool. This is pretty interesting. We got to wait on some news.
What's nice about this one is, you got to wait on some news. But if you don't like, if you're not confident in the Eagles defense here, you can switch to Jake Elliott just fine. And I think that's pretty comfortable too, you know?
Yeah. All right. Let's build with each of our captain choices. So let's see. Who do you want to go with first?
Let's go AJ.
All right. AJ Brown. Now look, clearly Justin Jefferson at captain is an incredible option. He's going to be high owned, just like Jalen Hurts is, except for Jalen Hurts is a better cash option, most likely. So please don't, just because we're not building with Justin Jefferson doesn't mean you shouldn't be building with him. You absolutely should. AJ Brown, Jalen Hurts in the flex.
Yeah.
Do you want to do a 2-4?
Justin.
You want to do a 2-4 here?
Let's do it. All
right, let's do two guys from Philly, 4 guys from Minnesota. Oh, we're fucked. Never mind. It's not even possible.
Well, pull out a Kirk Cousins. Well, you know what? No, pull out Justin Jefferson. Let's fade him here.
All right.
Why not? This is GPP lineup. Let's go Kirk. Let's go Jordan Addison.
Get some value. Let's get some value. You want to go like Osborne? You want to go? Who do you want to go here?
Throw in Greg Joseph.
3,300. Vikings defense.
That is ugly, man.
Yeah. Ty Chandler. I don't know. This is stupid. But these are the kind of lineups that you need to be thinking about in this Millie Maker contest if you're playing more than like a couple. But this is ugly, and these are the kind of lineups that usually win. Let's build a better looking one. This is hard, dude. AJ Brown at captain with Jalen Hurts in the flex is like really hard to build with.
What if we pull out Jalen Hurts? Let's put in I mean, damn. I guess let's assume Kenny's playing, and Kenny has a big game. So Kenneth Gainwell.
You want to put Kenny in? We got to put Justin Jefferson in.
Yeah, and Kirk.
I think at minimum, you have to have at least one of Justin Jefferson or Hurts, obviously, and try to get both if you can. If you're fading Justin Jefferson or Hurts, it should be in one of these giant contests. And then Kirk.
Yeah.
All right. 2,700 a pop. If Kenneth Gainwell's in, that means we probably don't want any of these other guys. Although Kenneth Gainwell and Boston Scott together isn't crazy.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. Let's see what that gives us. I still don't think it's going to give us anything worth building with, bro. So like, this is going to sound crazy. Go ahead and put in Jared Naylor or Naylor, whatever the fuck his first name is.
Naylor.
So
I
there's a
hardly know
couple.
her.
Jalen Naylor, yeah.
There it is. All right. There's 3,100 left though, so let's go up from Boston Scott then.
Yeah,
5,300.
53.
KJ Osborne, this is a 2-4 again. AJ Brown, Kenneth Gainwell. We got Kirk Cousins, Justin Jefferson, Osborne, and Naylor. I don't know. Look, Naylor might not even play a snap. It's just like, this is where we're at. These guys are freaking expensive as hell. Can we build a little bit safer lineup? Let's see if we can do a DeAndre Swift captain and see if we can just build a little bit safer of a lineup that we're more comfortable with. This might be the way to go for big tournaments, is get one of these lower end, like middle range, like 5,600 type dude or 6K dude and under, and then fill in with some of these studs. So let's try it. Let's fill in with the studs. Let's put Jefferson, Hurts. Let's put in Kirk Cousins. Put in AJ Brown. We're gonna have to punt, but we're only punting at one spot. So depending on who's active, it's probably these $200 guys are not interesting to me, but maybe a Naylor situation. Let's pull out Brown, just like we were saying, and let's put in Devontae Smith, right? Let's do it. Let's see what we can get at 2K. Rashad Penny.
I mean, I'd be fine with that, especially if Kenny's out.
So if Kenneth Gainwell's out, this is a Kenneth Gainwell being out sort of game script. DeAndre Swift, a captain. Justin Jefferson, Hurts, Cousins, Devontae Smith, and Rashad Penny. So we need to really keep an eye, obviously, on injury news. That's going to be a huge deal. If Gainwell's out, it opens up a lot of options for us. If Gainwell's in, I think we still have some interesting options because we don't quite know. Everybody thinks and saw how week 1 went. They're probably going to say, all right, we got to play a lot of Gainwell. Well, maybe Gainwell doesn't get it as involved because he is hurt. There's just a lot of interesting options here. What did you learn with all this info, man?
Yeah, I mean, I think we still have no idea what's going on with the running back situation in Philly, and I think that's going to continue all year long. I honestly think one of Boston Scott or Rashad Penny are going to have 2 touchdowns. Like that's kind of where my head's at right now.
Yeah.
And it's going to ruin everything.
Sounds about right.
But really, the only other thing I have to add is just hop in the Discord, guys. Obviously, building didn't go necessarily how we thought it would on this run through, but we're going to be building up until lock, and then especially after inactives come out.
Yeah.
We'll be chopping it up there and discussing different type of builds in there. And like Tyson was saying, we're not going to just sit here and build with the chalkiest captain. And show you guys, the same, 10 lineups that everyone's running.
Else, yeah.
We want to try and show you different versions of different builds so that you can kind of get some flexibility when you do enter.
Yeah, I mean, I know everybody says this, but with Showdown, we got to tell a story. What's the story that's happening in particular lineups where we would fade Justin Jefferson? Well, who's going to benefit? If you're fading Hurts, go with Christ if you are, but if you are, what happens? Like, what happens in the game? What needs to happen? That's why I like using Sambersim, because I can literally, I could put Hurts' projection down to like 10 fantasy points, and it'll give me sims with correlation as far as what the kind of game script would be if he only got 10 fantasy points. And you can kind of see that in real time, how it will work out. All right, guys, we appreciate you. Throw us a like on the way out. Subscribe. Like I said, we're doing at least one Monday night show for members, maybe 2 this week. So hit that join button. It's only $3.99 a month. It really helps us out. Helps us to pay for all this, all these subscriptions and all this services. It really does help. We're not really making any money for ourselves doing these shows. We enjoy it. We enjoy talking to you guys. So we appreciate you. Join that Discord. It's free, by the way. We'll see you for Sunday Night Football.